So what's the one mistake that riders make, whether they're beginner riders or sometimes even more advanced riders? Hi, it's Pat Gillis here, and I thought maybe this week we'll talk about that just a little bit. So let's say as a beginner rider, you're starting off on your career, there's a lot to learn. Like, first of all, you have to get to know your partner, which is something that we really stress at my school. But there's also, all the technical stuff, the theoretical knowledge, the physicality of it, just handling the equipment. There's a lot of things to learn that can kind of be daunting. But oftentimes, after a certain point, I'll have students come to me and they'll say, what do I have to do? How much do I have to know before I could maybe start training a horse myself? Now, so whether that rider is a complete beginner or even a little bit further along or more advanced, I pretty much always answer that question the same way. And that is that every single time we interact with a horse, we're actually training the horse, and it's something to be aware of all the time. Like, for example, the other day when I was at another barn, I saw this lady. She was on her cell phone, which is always not a great idea when you're around horses, but be that as it may. So she's on her cell phone, and her horse is pawing in the aisle, and she can't quite hear what she's trying to. She can't make herself heard on the phone. So what does she do? She gives him a carrot, and it makes him stop pawing. And I thought to myself, there's a really basic but good example of unintentional training, right? She's training the horse that if you paw, you get a carrot. She was training, sort of rewarding the bad behavior, so to speak. So it's an obvious example, obviously, but what I want you to be aware of is that the horse is hardwired to pay attention to us all the time. Like, if you watch them in the herd, they always notice what their herd mate's doing. The subtlest flick of an ear or whatever, that has intentionality to it, and the other herd mates recognize it and they know what it means. We always want to be mindful when we're working with horses that he's studying us as well. So even my complete beginners can be training like my most experienced old school horses. If nothing else, they could just be training them new ways to frustrate the beginner rider or to evade doing what the work is required. But they're always learning something. And I think the more we stay sort of aware of that, and the more intentional we get to be in our interactions with horses, the further along the path we are to the real connection that we're all seeking. So that's just some food for thought. We'll talk to you next week, and remember to thank your horse. Talk to you soon.